Former MK Party Secretary General Floyd Shivambu has reiterated that he will never resign from the party. This despite internal squabbles. Shivambu held a briefing earlier today following mounting speculation over his MK Party membership. It follows his removal as the Secretary General and scathing remarks by party leader Jacob Zuma. Ziyanda Ngcobo attended that briefing and joins us now live. We also have on the line political analyst Dr Levi Endo joining us as well. Afternoon to both of you. Thanks very much for your time. You were clearly entertained, all of you without exception, in that room. Ziyanda, let's talk about that first.
I think it was entertaining because we saw a different side to Floyd Shivambu. And some of the things that he was saying were shocking for lack of a better word. I mean, he called his former political home for 10 years a cult. He spoke about people who take drugs and tweet at night. You can guess who that is. He spoke about some damning things that I think, because they're usually spoken about, you know, in political corridors or behind closed doors, it was quite the thing to see Shivambu saying those things during a press conference on national television. And he even admitted that he's not held down by any kind of position that he holds, so he's free to speak as he pleases. And so, you know, the press conference also went on for quite some time, and we were still not sure by the time he ended his formal statement what the status of his membership in the MK party was. And then he emphatically repeated what he'd previously told us here in Newzroom Afrika, that he'll never resign and remain a member of the Umkhonto we Sizwe party, despite announcing that he will be undertaking a process, a consultation process with citizens across the country to see whether or not there's an appetite for a new political party. This is what he said.
I will not resign. I said I will never resign from Umkhonto we Sizwe. And I still stick by the decision and the communication that I made, that it was the best decision ever to join Umkhonto we Sizwe. And I spoke about it earlier, that how would we replace an opportunity to learn in 6 months what you couldn't learn in 10 years? Like a practical experience which you can never read in any textbook. Like and I knew from the beginning, from day one, that here we're about to start a journey of deep learning and understanding just what are the dynamics of South Africa's politics, not from a textbook point of view.
Fascinating aspect, Davi, is that, so Floyd was speaking about the deep and great respect that he has for former President Jacob Zuma, but also called him gullible, said that there are political scoundrels that are surrounding him, that are influencing him. He spoke about an intelligence report. We've been there before, Davi, with fake intelligence reports when Zuma was still head of state, and how he was accused of traveling across Africa, meeting with church leaders to get supernatural powers to topple Zuma. I mean, stuff that sounds like a myth, really. And so also how he came out and named, you know, certain eminent individuals who he claims are already backing this conversation that's going to be undertaken. He's mentioned the names of Dr. Ivan Khoza, Patrice Motsepe, and the likes, people obviously who clearly have money. And so this is why it was quite fascinating to watch. But I want us to listen to what he said about this process that will be undertaken, because I also specifically asked about where the money for all of this will be coming from, seeing that he's almost going to have a dual membership of staying within the MK, but also testing the waters elsewhere.
We will be seeking opinions of different sectors of society as to, is there a need to form a political party? That is the first question that we're going to ask. That if yes, what should be the values and principles of that political party? And what should distinguish that political party from the existing political parties? So those are the questions that we're going to be asking. We're also going to ask as to how should that political party be funded? So those are the questions that we're going to be asking different communities and constituencies across South Africa.
Let's bring into the conversation political analyst Dr. Levi Endo. Dr. Ndou, a very good afternoon to you. Just what you made of the entire briefing. I mean, Ziyanda Ngcobo and everyone who was there were clearly entertained, but Floyd Shivambu himself did look like he was enjoying every moment of it as well.
Good afternoon, we have Ziyanda and the viewers at home. It was quite expected that this press briefing would talk about the political future of Floyd Shivambu. It has been quite clear, even since he became the Secretary General of the MK party, that there were tensions within the party. And there are those who have been in the party for quite some time who felt that Floyd appears to have overtaken them. He is getting a lot of attention from the president of the party. And of course, some felt that his presence has the potential of taking away the party from the original members who started with the party. I want to concur with Ziyanda that Floyd today was quite different. And I say he was different because he appears to be a person who has attained his freedom, that he is speaking, not having any fear of threat of having to account to somebody else, but to himself and some few people that is still going to introduce to us. He has a very good experience in the South African politics, and he has done a lot of work in the ANC, in the EFF and the MK party. And I think it will not be easy for South Africa to lose him in the political space of South Africa. So the decision that is taken of wanting to consult and get a broader view of where he's supposed to go could be a well-calculated one.
Do you think he has really, he feels that he has found his freedom, or is it not a question, rather, of him having to accept his fate or reality, new reality, one should say?
The fact of the matter is that there are a lot of people that I also agreed with who felt that who might not last longer in the MKP. And that is also based on the dynamics within the party that are known everywhere. And the structural arrangements in the MK party creates a good convenience for decisions to be taken very quickly. And indeed, such decisions have got their own implications and casualties. And one of the casualties of the structural arrangements of the MK party is Floyd Shivambu himself. But there is nothing constitutionally wrong with what could have happened in the MK party, because the constitution of the MK party allows these kind of decisions to be taken, and referring to how people can be put and removed in different positions of the party. He might feel not being properly treated by the MK party. He might also feel betrayed. But the fact of the matter is that this was bound to happen, and the constitution of the MK party allows these kind of things to happen.
Ziyanda, did he at any point give any insights? Perhaps not so much spill the beans, but give you a sense, all of you in that room, of what could have happened? That perhaps he won't talk too much about, but did he shed any light as to how things got to this point for him?
He absolutely did, and this is why I was saying this was a different version of Floyd Shivambu that is usually quite measured in the words that he uses. He first started off by saying that the real reason why he was demoted as Secretary General is because of a fake intelligence report that was compiled by these political scoundrels that are surrounding the MK party leader Jacob Zuma, who fabricated lies to say that he went to go fetch some kind of muti for supernatural power to topple Zuma, and then there was that announcement that he'd then be redeployed to the National Assembly. A second fake intelligence report then surfaced to say, and WhatsApps to say that he was now saying, yeah, it's a good move to send him to Parliament because then he'll be able to now run the organization from Parliament and that he's getting funding from Stellenbosch, all of which he says is obviously not true. He was also emphatic about the level of admiration and respect that he has for Zuma and will never question Zuma's politics. So in other words, he's saying, as Zuma the individual, I'm okay with him. I believed in him. I learned so much from him in the last few months than I ever did when I was deputy president of the EFF. But there are people surrounding him who are creating this chaos, and mainly for the purposes of being able to siphon funds from the organization. He bandied about no less than 7 million being withdrawn from the party's coffers every month. He would not be drawn, however, on who those individuals were, because he still feels that he wants to be able to stay in the organization, so he can't necessarily besmirch everything within the organization. But it's almost as if he was trying to explain his perspective, but in the most blunt kind of way, because it's not like it's the first time these questions have ever been posed to Floyd Shivambu. I would even argue that he was directly speaking to those sympathizers within the MK party who also share the sentiment that the organization is a fiefdom, it's a patrimonial organization that's being run by a family, and they're ready to actually have certain individuals removed around the former president, and they want Floyd Shivambu to do that, which is a discussion we've seen taking place.
But then, Dr. Ndou, I mean, playing the victim card, fake intelligence report, and all those things, I mean, come straight from a Jacob Zuma script, don't they? Is it a question of Floyd Shivambu having learned from the best over the past year, especially?
It is not for the first time that we hear about an intelligence report that will come from former President Jacob Zuma. But that is something that had to happen. There has to be a reason for Floyd Shivambu to be redeployed. It is also a fact that, as I indicated earlier, that there are people in the MK party who are not happy with him being the national organizer and also being the Secretary General. So had to find something to have him removed. But I think Floyd also was trying to be very diplomatic and very careful in the selection of his words. He appears not to be interested in burning the bridges. He still talks good about former President Jacob Zuma, and he also maintains that he's still going to be continuing as the member of the MK party. And that will give him an advantage to get an ear of the sympathizers within the MK party, because when you think about forming a new political party, there is nowhere else to get supporters and members. You need to get them from where you're coming from and other people outside the political space. So he's trying his best to ensure that even though he's not happy with how he is treated, there are certain good things that are still there in the MK party. He remains a member. He's going to consult and take a final decision. And I see that where he's going is that at the end of the day and in the near future, we might hear an announcement of a new political party being formed.
I hope you didn't say, Ziyanda Ngcobo, that at some point he will reveal more about, you know where I'm going with this, because former President Jacob Zuma keeps telling us as well that at some point he will reveal all, but I'm only giving you this for now.
Absolutely no. So he didn't quite say that, but it was very clear in his comments that he's taking aim with specific individuals within the organization, but not the idea or the purpose of the formation of the Umkhonto weSizwe Party, which is something I think Dr. Ndou is pretty much alluding to. I also think, though, to agree with Dr. Ndou, that in the way that he was formulating his speech, it's almost to say that those who, if we do eventually, or when we do eventually form this party, you can come along with me because these are the ideals that we're likely to stand for. It won't be a fiefdom. It's not something, he kept on saying, you don't form a political party around an individual or as friends. And so almost in a way trying to do it from within the MK party, just like Zuma did, saying he's not leaving the ANC, but he's going to form the MK party, but also testing the waters to see just how much, groundswell he can get, given how he named the various regions across the country, which he says, I'm not naming them, as a matter of theory. I've been to all these areas that I've just mentioned. And so there's a local government election coming up. We don't know how long this consultation process will start. He's committed that next week he'll announce the names of people who will form part of, going to various regions. And really, I think what he's trying to do here is to use the vehicle that he's already within, but also to dare them to say, I will not resign, but if you expel me, then that will be your choice, which means he will get some kind of sympathy from those who are already there. But at the same time, you can't also imagine a Jacob Zuma watching a Floyd Shivambu crisscrossing the country under the banner of Umkhonto weSizwe. As a normal member, by the way, he's not even in a national high command, trying to test the waters about starting a new political party. One has to give eventually.
Quick parting shot, Dr. Ndou, does he have a chance, Floyd Shivambu, in the event, after crisscrossing the country, everyone he comes across, or almost everyone, says, please go ahead, form a new vehicle?
Shivambu, in my view, is starting by testing the ground. He has identified a number of people that he feels that he needs to talk to, and if they agree, that might be a signal that he could be taking the right direction. Then he could be able to form a party. But he could have learned from other politicians in the country who formed political parties, and some of us thought that they will not make it, and they've been able to make it. South Africans now appears to have taken a decision that they are available for any party that is able to bring in something new, and they can support and still vote for these parties. And that is why we are having a lot of political parties in the National Assembly, a lot of parties at local level. So Shivambu, if he is able to come with the right receipt, he could still be able to make it in South African political body politic, and he can still make a huge impact. Age is on his side. He has got a very good political history. And I think if the units are put together properly, we can still have Shivambu in the near future.
Let's leave it on that note. Dr. Ndou, Ziyanda Ngcobo, thank you very much for this conversation. We shall see how this one pans out.